Hey guys, Ravenite here. So, I've been asked a few times to weigh in with my thoughts on the show Shogun on FX, and I didn't want to go too deep into that because I'll admit I have a personal bias here. The show is perfectly fine and serviceable, I guess, so I don't think it's bad, but I've read the original book by James Clavell, and I've watched the original miniseries from 1980, which was overseen by Clavell himself, and I just know which ones I think are better. The book is by far the best, but the miniseries follows the book incredibly closely, and I have a deep love for that version over this new one. But today, I had a recommended video pop up in my YouTube feed showing a scene from the new Shogun show, and I decided to watch it to see how it compares to the original miniseries. So I sat down to watch, and I walked away groaning. The scene in question is attempting to combine two scenes from the book, and in doing so, it butchers the original weight of the first and lessens the impact of the second. So today, I'd like to do a little comparison between the three scenes to explain my issue. Let us first begin with the book and the context of what's happening. In Chapter 11 of Shogun by James Clavell, the main character, William Blackthorne, is brought before Lord Toranaga, one of the most powerful daimyo in the realm, and a man who William must convince to aid him if he's even to survive in Japan. Now, at this point in time, Japan is already home to the Portuguese Jesuits, who have mouths and ears in the higher offices of Japanese politics. William is a Protestant and enemy of Portugal right now, and he has to somehow convince Toranaga not to dismiss him at the whim of the Portuguese. Unfortunately for Blackthorne, he can't speak Japanese, so Toranaga brings in a translator, a Portuguese Jesuit named Father Alvido. William is worried that Alvido will twist his words, so Toranaga brings in an impartial secondary translator, Mariko, a beautiful Japanese woman who speaks Portuguese and will be able to tell if Alvido twists any words of William's. Now, we're going to skip ahead a little in the conversation. Toranaga is asking William what he is, and he answers he's a mercenary. Toranaga answers that he was called a pirate by the Jesuits. So he asks William what a pirate is to him, so we will pick up from there. Follow along with me, please. What is a pirate? An outlaw, a man who rapes, kills, or plunders for personal profit. Isn't that the same as a mercenary? Isn't that what you are? A pirate and the leader of pirates? No. The truth is my ships have letters of marque from the legal rulers of Holland, authorizing us to carry the war into all seas in places dominated up to now by our enemies, and to find markets for our goods. To the Spanish and most Portuguese, yes, we're pirates and religious heretics, but I repeat, the truth is we're not. Father Alvido finished translating, then began to talk quietly but firmly direct to Toranaga. I wish I could talk as directly, Blackthorne thought, cursing Toranaga, glanced at Hiramatsu, and the old man put some questions to the Jesuit, who answered lengthily. Then Toranaga returned to Blackthorne, and his voice became even more severe. Tsukusan says that these Dutch lands, the Netherlands, were vassals of the Spanish king up to a few years ago. Is that true? Yes. Therefore, the Netherlands, your allies, are in a state of rebellion against their lawful king. They're fighting against the Spaniard, yes, but isn't that rebellion? Yes or no? Yes, but there are mitigating circumstances. There are no mitigating circumstances when it comes to rebellion against a sovereign lord. Unless you win. Toranaga looked intently at him, then laughed uproariously. He said something to Hiramatsu through his laughter, and Hiramatsu nodded. Yes, Mr. Foreigner with the impossible name, yes. You named the one mitigating factor. Another chuckle, then the humor vanished as suddenly as it had begun. Will you win? Hi. And we'll stop there. So now that we've bled that, let's play the original miniseries scene from 1980. Play the clip.
そちの同盟国オランダはイスパニアの正当な王と戦っているというが、それはまことか?
Then your ally Holland is fighting against its lawful king. Is that true?
They're fighting against Spain, yes, but
それは無本ではないのか?
Isn't that rebellion? Yes or no?
yes, but there are mitigating circumstances, serious mitigating
権力
circumstances.
者に対して謀反を起こすのに正当な名目などあるものか?
There are no mitigating circumstances when it comes to rebellion against a sovereign lord.
Unless you win.
言いにくい名の偉人様よ。名目の立つ唯一の言葉を吐きよったな。
Note how the lines are pretty close to the same. The scene is vibrant and bright, showing the grandeur and austerity of Toranaga, and it also plays off the lines very well. We have Toranaga being very direct. We have Alvido translating the lines quickly and severely, but not showing any partiality to one side or the other. We have Mariko in the back whispering the translations that are being said to Toranaga so that we know that everything's being accurate. And we have another really good example of the actor playing William Blackthorne, who's trying very hard to maintain composure, but also being very frustrated that he can't speak directly to Toranaga. Now, let's take a look at the modern version. Play the clip.
He asks what you seek here.
Now, first of all, please notice the difference here. The scene is taking place outside in the yard because the show is trying to combine this scene with a later scene. See, after Anjin was thrown in prison for a few weeks to keep him safe, Toranaga called him to a private meeting in his garden to discuss Anjin's secrets. In this meeting, Anjin will draw up a map of the world in the sand and show how he came to Japan by the Magellan Strait, as well as reveal the truth that the Portuguese Catholics hope to lay claim to Japan's power structure and take control of the nation under the Treaty of Saragossa. This scene was shown in the miniseries too, but we'll come back to that later. I just want you to take note of what's said here, okay? So back to the clip.
To vanquish our common enemies.
敵と戦うのに殿の力添えをいただくためと申しておりまする。
戦を挑むつもりならやめておいた方がよい。多勢に無勢、望みはあるまい。
My master says you should not war against the Portuguese in Japan. You are outnumbered, it is hopeless.
Unless I win.
己が勝てば望みはあると申しておりまする。
So, he asks William what he seeks in Japan, and William explains that he wants Toranaga to aid him against the Catholics. Toranaga says he should abandon his war. He's outnumbered and he won't win, to which Blackthorne says, unless I win. That makes no sense. The response does not connect to the statement Toranaga said. Remember, in the original line, Toranaga said there are no mitigating circumstances when it comes to rebellion against your sovereign lord, and Blackthorne reveals there is if you win. This line is actually a very important and thematic one for the story as it foreshadows Toranaga's own intentions to overthrow the Taiko and become Shogun himself. When Blackthorne states he plans to win, even in their rebellion, and that will make him righteous, Toranaga laughs and agrees with him, a subtle hint that he himself plans to do just what Blackthorne says, win in his own rebellion. But here, Toranaga is suggesting that Blackthorne just walk away from this war, give up on it. It's unwinnable because he's outnumbered, to which Blackthorne says, you're right, it is unwinnable unless I win. Which is kind of a stupid line. It would have made more sense if he explained why he would win. Like if he says it's unwinnable and he goes, but there's something you don't know, we have blah, 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 but he doesn't do that. He just, unless I win, to which Toranaga just smiles like, you said something that makes no sense at all, but I'm going to smile at it. It's a line that makes no real sense in this context. But let's go further. Let's take a look at the scene in the miniseries that they tried to combine, the scene in the garden. Stop right there. Notice how much more colorful and bright this is. What is it with modern historical Hollywood trying to make everything dark and gritty whenever they do historical stories like this? Why does it always have to look dark and creepy and eerie? But I want to draw attention to Mariko and how she differs from the original to this one.
Since your country falls in the Portuguese half, officially your country belongs to Portugal. Lord Toranaga, you, everyone, this castle, everything in it, was given to the Portuguese.
Please excuse me, but that does not make sense.
Perhaps, but it's true. It was written into legal documents that gave each king the right to claim any non-Catholic land and replace the existing government with Catholic rule. Many lands in the Americas have already been plundered by the Spanish and their treasures taken back to Spain. Portugal has grown rich from gold and silver from Brazil.
If this is true, how could the kings of Spain and Portugal give themselves such rights?
They didn't. The Pope gave them the rights. The vicar of Christ on earth himself, in exchange for spreading the word of God.
I don't believe what you say is true.
It is true, lady. Pope Clement VII sanctioned the Treaty of Saragossa in the year 1529, giving Portugal the exclusive right to your country.
I'm sorry, sir, but I assure you their arrogance is unbelievable. Please tell him. It's written into legal documents. Each Spanish and Portuguese king has the right to lay claim to any non-Catholic land they discover and to replace its government with Catholic rule.
This is a lie.
No.
Do you swear by your god?
Yes, I do.
Angie は何と申したのじゃ?
What I like about Mariko's actress in this is she comes off far more naive. Like she's a little bit more uncertain about what to feel. She's friendly, she's delicate, she's polite, she's upfront, but she also has her concerns and convictions. That said, she doesn't hesitate. She shows respect to both Anjin-san, Blackthorne, and to Toranaga. But in the remake, in this new one, she seems a lot more hardened, a lot more strict, a lot more forceful. She doesn't seem like the same kind of girl that was described in the story. Now, of course, that's preference, I understand that, but to me, I like the idea that Mariko was showing deference to everyone, and she kept her thoughts to herself. Here, though, it feels very weird. Like, compare the two lines. When she says to Anjin, I find what you say to be untrue, or I believe what you say is untrue. That seems a lot more respectful than just saying, you're a liar, or you're lying. It's like, it feels more like they're trying to turn her into a badass, when if you actually read the book and watch the original, she is a badass just in a different way. I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't done in the same way or with as much skill. My problem here is it looked like they were trying to combine two scenes, and they did it very clunkily. I'm sorry, guys. If you like the new series, more power to you. I'm glad you do. But I hope this kind of demonstrates to you why I'm just not as big a fan of it. There are moments that I feel like they really dropped the ball, and I'm just not a big fan. But anyway, I just wanted to do this because I've been asked a lot to share my thoughts on Shogun, and I thought that maybe demonstrating the differences here would show kind of why I'm not as big a fan. But if you guys enjoy it, I hope you do. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to read the actual book, highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it. And if you want to see the original miniseries, I'm sure you can find it somewhere. There's plenty of ways to watch it out there. Anyway, take care, guys. I'll see you in my next one. Ta-ta.